Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Leadership Lab podcast. This is where we have conversations where we dissect discipleship and leadership development within the local church. And again, for this episode, joining us this episode is Pastor Dennis, our senior pastor in Victory Makati, and Pastor Neil Hermo, one of our pastors also in Victory Makati. How are you, pastors? Welcome to our Leadership Lab podcast.
Hello!
Hi everyone, welcome.
Welcome. Good to see you guys.
Come on. Exciting. Actually, Pastor Dennis and Pastor Neil, we're going to have a conversation about discipleship. And we know that as part of our church, it's our heartbeat discipleship now. We said we are here to honor God and make disciples. And right now, if you would see, parang almost 2 years na tayo sa pandemic. Ang hindi nagbago is yung calling for us to make disciples. We are still called by God to make disciples, to do discipleship. But other than that, maraming pagbabagong nangyari. Okay, the landscape changed. Hindi tayo makapagkita-kita sa church, and then people are displaced or locked down. But the calling stays the same. The scenario changed, but I think a very good conversation right now, even as we approach 2 years going into the lockdown or pandemic, is how does discipleship look like right now? I think we have quite a sample size na for almost 2 years in doing discipleship. I think we had some adjustments, birth pains even, but I think discipleship right now is happening. And I want to ask Pastor Neil and Pastor Dennis, what do you think discipleship looks right now in terms of your experience or observation, and how will it look forward? How will it look moving forward, yung discipleship natin? So siguro,
Pastor Neil muna kasi kahit may lockdown parang lagi siya nakangiti. Hindi ko alam bakit.
no? Hindi napipigilan ng lockdown eh.
Iba.
Nawala yung Wednesday service. Nakasmile pa rin. Hindi ko alam bakit.
Siyempre, Pastor D, alam mo naman, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Kaya talagang
Bang klase.
ganun talaga. Thank you, Pastor D, kasi na-inspire ako sa leadership mo eh. So kahit with all adjustment.
Inspired.
What a press release, ha?
Yeah. Thank you, Pastor D, for your inspiring leadership.
Come on. Since inspired ka naman, Pastor Neil, what can you say about discipleship? Siguro, looking back when we were still adjusting to the situation up to now and moving forward, what do you think discipleship looks like and will look like?
Yeah, so kasi as we are recording this, nag-burn months na ng 2021. So mas malapit na yung 2022 compared to nung March 2020 when we started. So like what you said, Edric, we already have a sample size, so to speak, about in terms of this discipleship. And yung masasabi ko, hindi naman talaga madali discipleship even before pandemic. Mas naging challenging pa now kasi hindi natin na-enjoy yung physical presence. Pero what we learned in this time of pandemic may benefit din because it goes beyond geographically speaking. Kasi di ba, like when we are already discipling people, talking to people, not necessarily nasa Makati sila eh. Sometimes nga nasa province eh. Maraming mga nasa province. So, I think yun yung naging thinking na natin na yes, we are Victory Makati, pero Victory Makati is like a home to us, not really a specific location. And what's important is, kumbaga, the consistency and the willingness of people to still be connected, which admittedly, medyo challenging talaga at this time, wherein we all know people are really going through a lot, busy, pero that's part of discipleship, just really being there when you are needed or at least when they are ready to communicate with you. Yeah. Kasi I know they're going through a lot of things. Ayun. So, ayun, Edric.
Galing, no? So, Pastor Neil, I think it's just only one slice of the pie, no? Binanggit ni Pastor Neil, it's multi-location right now. Pwede ka sa province, and still you're joining Victory Makati, and still discipleship happens. And yung sinabi mo, Pastor Neil, no, na being there for the people, kahit na multi-location because of technology, parang tayo ngayon, no, usually we would have these conversations magkakasama, but because of technology, it's like being there right now. And we're learning from one another. So, ang galing lang, no? But I know there's so much more. That's just one piece of the pie. Location and still being there despite the distance. So, Pastor D, anything else you like to add?
Sa akin, I think one of the changes I saw was how we need to look at discipleship. That it's no longer, yung sabi nga ni Neil kanina, it's no longer geographical. It's really more of connections, human connections. Alam nyo, di ba, alam nyo naman, meron tayong mga members na will go to Makati pre-pandemic days na nakatira sa Santa Rosa, di ba? And they would drive all the way to Makati, mga Mendoza, di ba?
Hello, guys.
They would drive all the way to
Minsan
Makati.
Batangas pa yun, Pastor D. Minsan Batangas pa.
Batangas, drive all the way to Makati to be with church community, right? And all their friends are in Makati, though they also connect with our church in Santa Rosa. But as you would see, even that kind of thinking was already there pre-pandemic days. That what connects us is the relationship and not the geography, no? And so with the new ministry landscape, all the more mas na-emphasize sa atin, discipleship is boundless, no? Parang walang boundaries to, no? It's you can disciple somebody from now. We have people from Ireland, 'di ba? May mga pupuntang Canada, but that doesn't mean Victory Makati will not be their home, right? It is still their home. They'll get pastor there through us, and maybe we will connect them to face-to-face church there. But in the meantime, while they're going through a process of transition, at least they know we are still there for them. No, I think that's what's different now. Na yung discipleship ngayon, hindi na siya dahil, taga-Ayala ka ba? Buendia? Sige, pwede. Taga-Tagig ka ba? Sige, ano yung kita sa Fort? Ay, taga-San Juan ka sa Green. Ngayon, taga-San Juan ka? Tara, join my Zoom meeting. No, I actually met somebody 2 weeks ago. He's from Tarlac. He's a businessman. He has no home church. He attends a lot of online churches. And so I was connected with him by one of our missionaries. And so I asked him, he has this burden of doing Bible studies now in his company, which is a lot of really para mga successful business people. He's young. He's, I think, your age, Edric. And so he said, I'm burdened. And so I started doing a Bible study. And now around 40 people attend our Bible study. We have Buddhists, Catholics, evangelicals, in one Bible study. Sabi niya, so he would do the book of Genesis. So as he was talking to me, sabi ko, meron ka na bang do you have a community already? Sabi, wala pa eh. You know what, bro? The best way I can help is not just to guest speak in your group, but I want to introduce you to my friends. So I introduce him now to our friends, sila Fred, sila the Reyes, the Tiongssons, the Amoraos, di ba? Sila Victor, di ba? And now, I saw last week, he was actually part of Victor's group, Businessmen's Group Tuesday, and now he has a community within Victory Makati. But when you ask him, where do you live? Tarlac. May bahay lang din ako dito sa Manila pag nasa Manila ako. But now, we as a church community, we're going to help him now disciple the 40 people he's meeting up for a Bible study and get it to a deeper because of the online of the ministry landscape that has changed right before our very eyes. No? So exciting for me itong nangyayari. No? May ginagawa pa rin si Lord even though may limitations tayo. The limitation is actually open the door for us. Parang China, no? Kung kailan sila na-persecute, doon sila lumalaki.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the church, it's the same way. The more we feel like, the enemy has put limitations in our discipleship, the more now the door has opened for us because you cannot stop the gospel from being preached and people from making disciples.
Ang galing. Grabe. I wanna add to that, no? Kasi una sinabi ni Pastor Neil, multi-location, meaning geographically where you live. And then Pastor D now shared, not just location in terms of where you live, but also churches in different locations. Gaya na sabi mo, di ba sila Mendozas can be connected to our church in Santa Rosa, or even yung mga nasa Ireland, we can connect them to a church in Ireland, but still do church here or still have a community here in Makati, which means we can do multiple ministries actually because of what happened here. Na multiple ministries can help each other, or you can be part of a community on both ministries. I know someone who volunteers in Victory Lukban but still makes disciples here in Victory Makati. Hello to the Candias, no? So, ang galing lang. It opened doors not just for doing discipleship, but also collaboration, not just within Victory, but also multi-church. And Pastor Neil and Pastor D, you guys mentioned technology, no? The online landscape. And for me, I want to share to you guys na the online landscape, not only hindi lang siya platform Habang nakikinig ako sa inyo, hindi lang platform yung online. It actually is also another mission field. Hindi lang pala siya platform, no? Kasi sinabi natin, we're using online to be connected. But right now, the online landscape actually opened another mission field, which is the online community. Yeah. And last Sunday, someone messaged in our worship service na, di ba, we always say, type pray if you want to be prayed for. And this person typed pray. And I got in touch with this person. And then I got the chance to pray for this person earlier. So this person is having anxiety attacks and hindi niya alam kung anong gagawin niya. So nagpa-pray siya. And then I wouldn't have met this person, I think, if it wasn't for the online community. So more than the platform, Pastor Neil and Pastor D, actually, what opened up during this season is another mission field na hindi ka lang limited sa city mo or sa campus mo. Yung online community is already a mission field na within reach na suddenly, regardless of location and demographic or anything. So, ang galing lang. Pastor Neil, galing.
Yeah. Ang ganda nung sinabi mo, Brody Edric, na it's really online. And I think, di ba, when we make disciples, kanya-kanyang like approach yan to different people just like before. So, even until now, na ganun pa rin yung strategy, pero ganun din when we make disciples. There are times that the best way that they would respond or they would freely communicate is via call. Meron naman yung gusto nila via Zoom na video. Kasi di ba, like, ako naintindihan ko minsan dahil ayaw na nila ng mga i-video call mo sila kasi baka buong araw na sila puro Zoom di ba? Kaya siguro minsan mas okay lang just the audio, alam mo yun, yung pahinga pa sa strain sa eyes. So siguro as we disciple din, di ba? I mean, iano rin natin what's the best way na mas mag-respond sila via call, FB video, and other mediums pa. Yeah. So yun.
Edric, ganda nga ngayon kasi I was meeting with my under 30 years old na Victory Group. Tapos meron kaming video ni Pastor Joseph Bonifacio. Sabi ko, panoorin nyo to. Ito yung di-discuss natin. So we had an hour discussion over a video that they watched prior to the meeting. And we had a very healthy, good discussion over the subject matter of Christian culture, no? Over Zoom. So parang galing lang nito, no? Kasi even the online, yung isa nasa Bulacan, yung isa kapitbahay ko lang, di ba? Pero, di ba, we could actually meet together. Dati kasi hindi ako pwede yan. Layo, nasa Bulacan pa ako. Ngayon, di ba? Pwede siyang umattend ng meeting. And we were able to have a good, healthy discussion about it. Of course, there are disadvantages di natin nakikita. Sarap sana pag, di ba, may nalilibre na Victory Group member natin. Ayun, di ba? No? Or yung mga ganun lang, or nagkakapi-kapi kayo. But then, I think those are things that we are now accepting as reality. That even our discipleship online does not replace the face-to-face discipleship because the conversation is already happening online for us. And I think that's something that we need to accept and not deny the reality of where we are.
Galing. Hearing from both of you, Pastor Neil and Pastor D, parang technology gave us options. Na yes, even if by God's grace, no, I pray na bumalik na tayo sa physical services or meeting physically. But suddenly, we have options. Na parang na-imagine ko dati meron kaming, until now, we have our couples victory group. Naalala ko nun, napakaliit pa ng baby ko. Kaya imagine me and Michelle traveling to Greenbelt, Meron kaming favorite nila, Ate Rosh and Kuya Elmer doon sa Tokyo doon, maluwag. And then I have to bring the stroller, the kid and all. But since online open, na parang layo-layo rin kami, Pastor D and Pastor Neil. But right now, parang ang dali namin magkita. But definitely, even if the pandemic stops or we're allowed to meet outside, I think the online will continue because nakita natin yung benefits. But the option of still going together, alam mo yun, you can marry both. Nakuha mo yung na-open up mo yung options mo. Sabi ni Pastor Neil kanina, hindi ka lang video, no? You can also do audio. And the options is also included, hindi lang sa platform of meeting together, but also the content na gamit nyo. So I can only imagine if you can invite Pastor Joe suddenly on your victory group, no? Pero ngayon, he has an on-demand content na very good conversation, which I heard, by the way. Ang galing lang nun about Christian culture. And you guys were able to watch it beforehand. So alam ko busy yung mga under 30 leaders under you, so they can watch it before class or before work or after work. And then suddenly you would meet up online on a specific time na set up nyo na. And then you had that content na. So ang galing lang. For me, it opened up options. Not only on meeting together, but also having the content or conversation bago kayo mag-meet. Galing.
Yeah. May mga talaga like benefits. And of course, may mga cons din. Pero what I noticed, because minsan kasi ang hirap mag-victory group because, traffic, ang layo, or hindi ako aabot. So ngayon, yung time, okay na, kahit saan. And then, as much as we want to focus sa victory group, there are times talaga, we have some people na marami rin talagang ginagawa, tapos multitask. Realistically, di ba? Parang, sige, di ba? May mga time na may tinatype lang ako dito, pero makikijoin ako. So alam mo yun, even in those moments, of course, we want na fully focus, pero kung may schedule talaga siya during the time na tinamaan yung victory group, pero at least they can still at least listen, not as actively participate, pero yung impartation, yung listening can still be there. So yung ganun, ganda nangyayari.
And we're actually just talking about victory groups. We're not even talking about discipleship per se. Na discipleship kasi, yes, it's done primarily to victory groups, but even through the pandemic, discipleship has changed for me. I make more phone calls now than before because that's the way to connect. I prayed with our members of our church that I've never met. I just knew their number, called them up. Parang ngayon, it's more accepted. Cold call si pastor. Pastor, mag-pray lang kita, di ba? Parang yung discipleship natin ngayon, naging na rin siya parang one time, late at night na, tumawag yung isang victory group member sa group namin. Tapos sabi niya, balita ko, wala si Tami sa probinsya. Gusto lang kita samahan. Sige, thank you. Sabi ko, patapos na ako, nag-exercise ako habang nakikinig ng YouTube. So, kwentuhan na lang kami and we prayed for each other. And that's where the discipleship magic happens, di ba? Through a phone call and the conversations that we have. I was reading an article 2 days ago about yung parang challenging the concept na dahil hindi na face-to-face, mas mahirap. But then, the article said, actually, this was about work. Even in work, hindi naman tayo palagi nagkikita-kita. Di ba pag nasa office ako, nagsusermon prep, tapos kayo may ginagawa kayo, hindi rin tayo nagkikita unless intentional tayo na, Edric, mag-lunch tayo. Tara bro, punta tayong 7-Eleven. Di ba? Or ano pa bang meron sa... Mini stop. DQ, yan na lang ang bukas. PDO, yan na lang ang mga bukas. Drugstore, di ba? Punta tayo sa drugstore, may bibilin lang ako. The intentionality still should be there. And he was saying that, eto basahin ko lang, no? Parang sabi niya na, the real challenge of remote work is it that it somehow erases the mysterious serendipity of magical office collisions. The problem is that making connections digitally requires enrollment and effort. If we do it with intent, it actually works better.
Wow.
No, kasi I was just texting sila Pastor Paulo, Pastor Christian Flores, our senior pastors in the Fort, sa Quezon City, at saka si Pastor Joe sa Santa Rosa. So I go, guys, have you realized we've connected more during this pandemic than prior to pre-pandemic na hindi ko kayo tinatawagan, hindi tayo nag-uusap. Ngayon mas nag-uusap tayo, once a week nag-uusap tayo. Parang the magic of being intentional is the same effort required pre-pandemic and now during pandemic, that I just need to make that call. I just need to connect with that person, whether digitally or face-to-face, we'll make it happen, right? And I think for our victory groups and our discipleship, it should be the same spirit. I just need to make that effort to call that somebody that the Lord is prompting me to call. At baka kailangan may kakwentuhan lang siya ngayon ng 15 minutes. Let me be that person to do it.
Which is good, no? Parang napaisip ako sa sinasabi mo, Pastor D. Kasi pagka magkakasama tayo sa office, ay nandyan lang naman si Pastor Neil. I can approach him anytime. Or nandyan lang naman si Pastor D. But the pandemic forced us to, hindi na talaga, wala na talaga ngayon si Pastor D or si Pastor Neil. Kailangan mo nang, ikaw na talaga kailangan mag-initiate to make the connection. Kasi dati parang we take it for granted na magkakasama tayo Parang ganon. I think sa Victory Group din, kapitbahay ko lang din naman to, or pag after Wednesday service, magkikita-kita lang din naman kami, kaya okay na. But now, I think one of the bright spots that this pandemic lockdown brought is that it positioned us to in such a way na kailangan natin mag-initiate na, guys, we need to connect. So, parang gusto kong mabasa yung article na shinare mo, Pastor D, even though it's about work, no? But it's interesting and it can work talaga if we intentionally do connect and share lives. No?
Maganda yung sinabi mo, Edric, no, and Pastor D, that it's really crucial yung intentionality, because if hindi, we'll just go on with our lives. And alam ko, sa staff tayo, pastors, in our schedule, we really incorporate that na may tatawagan tayo, may pray tayo, may kakamustahin tayo. But unfortunately, sa laki ng church natin, or at least the people na in-entrust sa atin ni God, hindi natin natatawagan lahat. Kaya it's also crucial, guys, that you help us in terms of kamustahin yung mga tao. Because as much as we really want to pray for them, minsan kasi hindi na umaabot or yung network, or hindi namin alam na ito pala yung pinagdadaanan nila. And kayo yung ina-update nila, humihingi ng prayer. So hindi naman kailangan lagi pastor mga musa. Kumbaga, we're there. Pero minsan, kayo linagay ni Lord dun So kumbaga, kung kaya, by the grace of God with your schedule, please also kamustahin nyo sila. Kasi I think naghihintay lang rin sila na bro, kamusta? Mga ganyan, di ba? So please also, yung alam nyong ini-impress ni Lord sa inyo, tawagan nyo sila, or kahit chat, kung ano yung whatever will work for them.
Grabe, ang galing. Agree with you, Pastor Neil. So we're still together. We're still family, and family really just connects naturally with each other. So yeah, good reminder, Pastor Neil and Pastor D. I know we've covered a lot, and I know this can also still change as we move forward. But I think noteworthy as we wrap up our conversation is to really intentionally still connect and still look for opportunities na parang usually when we hear lockdown or pandemic, parang obstacle agad yung nakita natin But as we do discipleship, as we faithfully obey the call of God, parang God just showed opportunities. And yung mga sinabi niyo, sobrang nakikita kong nangyayari. And I believe God will continue to reveal more opportunities for us, not just to do victory groups, but to do discipleship actually, to share lives and follow Jesus. So, ang galing. Pastor Neil and Pastor D. Pastor D, before we wrap up, anything else? I think we're good. So guys, we pray and hope that this helped you, this conversation helped you. And sabi ni Pastor Neil, ang ganda, we have options. So this conversation is also available not only on video, but also on Spotify. Pre-nag na So please do follow us, our Leadership Lab podcast. And we pray that this conversation helped you to grow more as a leader. So God bless you guys, and see you for our next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
For more episodes, please visit our YouTube channel, Leadership Lab Podcast.